Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Did you know that there's a firm that successfully registered a cryptocurrency with the SEC back in 2019? Well, look, there's going to be a good bit to unpack here. Now, I am one of the people that has said many times that it is literally impossible for a firm to register a cryptocurrency with the SEC. And then if you've listened to me in the videos where I've talked about that concept, I broke down the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, which largely has to do with the fact that you can't, and I'll explain why, but you can't, and you still can't register a decentralized cryptocurrency. But it certainly is the case that if you want to register a cryptocurrency, and this is where we get into the weeds, you can say, okay, technically you can. Like, say you have a centralized system that you are launching, and it's, say, the only purpose, this could be the only purpose, for example, of you launching this, and it's on a blockchain, you decide this is how you want to do it, is to have that be, the token itself be representative of company stock. Well, you can do that because that's just a new technical version of something that already exists. But you get into a ton of problems where, like, you can't even fill out paperwork to file a decentralized cryptocurrency. So, look, I'll just say this. Moving forward, and I actually have been doing this in recent days, but moving forward, I'll aim to be more precise with my language because I think that's the right thing to do. It's possible in specific instances to register a cryptocurrency as a security, in particular, if it will always be centralized, for example, and especially if it's intended to be a digital representation of a stock. But it's not possible to register a decentralized cryptocurrency. So from now on, when I'm talking about this, I'm going to be more precise. I'm going to aim to anyway. Instead of saying you can't register a cryptocurrency with the SEC, I'm going to state that you cannot register a decentralized cryptocurrency with the SEC, which is what I was actually talking about every time I was talking about this topic anyway. So it is actually still the case, but I want to explain why, because it's an interesting point of conversation. But before breaking this down any further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything you say or write. I say right, you just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Actually, let's start with this. So let's get some proper background, and then I'm going to break it down a little bit. So just to kind of set the table, what are we even talking about here? Well, there's a tweet from XRP community member JV, who wrote a shout out to someone named Charles for this info. Hashtag Stacks successfully registered their token STX with the SEC. Why is this not getting more attention instead of the narrative of there's no way to register crypto with the SEC? The laws don't fit. What's stopping Ripple or any other crypto project / company from doing this? Does a commodity designation really mean that much when we know most of these assets aren't commodities? Okay, so folks, I'm very glad that that JV brought this up. This is an excellent question and something that we should think through from an intellectual perspective. So here's what I have to say to this, and then I will give you some of the background on what exactly occurred here so you can further understand why this is so substantially different and why Ripple absolutely cannot register XRP on the whole. Like Ripple can't do that. And I'd be offended if they tried. It's a decentralized ecosystem Ripple does not control. But look, so you can't register a decentralized cryptocurrency because you can't know who everyone that is transacting on the blockchain is. You're not going to have that information. Okay, you can see transactions on a public blockchain, but you don't have any additional information necessarily. It doesn't even have to be provided in order to transact on the blockchain. There's no permissions required. Transactions, anything that's registered by the SEC, though, that cannot be the case. It literally cannot be the case. And so the fact that a coin, in this case STX coin, Stacks, was successfully registered with the SEC, that would only cover, and only did cover, specific initial transactions, okay? The SEC, on the other hand, is asserting that every XRP transaction is a unregistered securities transaction of Ripple. Think about that. That's markedly different. Every transaction that Ripple doesn't even touch, has nothing to do with a transaction, versus this STX coin, where it's basically an ICO. Basically, what they had is they registered an ICO. That's effectively what they did, where all the transactions were accounted for and reported to the SEC. And so it's similar in that sense to issuing company stock. Now they did cite that it's not actually company stock, but you get the point that I make. You get the broader point I'm making, right? That's a controlled environment. Ripple cannot do that. It is not possible for them to do that. Literally impossible for them to do that. The best they could do is fill out some sort of form, if it exists even. I've not seen, but for specific transactions. Now, of course, get into a whole other can of worms, which I'll talk about in a minute here, because that'll wreck use cases. But look, how can Ripple register transactions that it can't even control? How could Ripple do it? Well, they can't, obviously. So that's a no-brainer. The answer is it can't. And if the SEC were to be consistent, by the way, they would never allow Stacks to stop reporting to them, because they are the ones that created the ecosystem in the first place. Because think about it, what are they asserting with Ripple? Oh, but not for Ripple's efforts, none of it would even exist, meaning that everything that XRP touches, it's them, so it's all supposed to somehow be reported, right? Except for, again, that's literally impossible, as I've discussed, as Brad Garlinghouse has also cited, literally impossible. And also note that just because Stacks stopped reporting the SEC, which they did, by the way, it doesn't mean the SEC can't sue them for doing so in the future. It doesn't mean that they can't sue them if they don't want to. And so the argument the company made is that they don't need to report to the SEC anymore because their platform is more decentralized now. Now, that may be in line with the 2018 Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass speech. If it's something sufficiently decentralized, hey, But since then the SEC has made it clear they don't give a damn if a cryptocurrency is decentralized or not. Registering specific sales/transactions of a cryptocurrency with the SEC will absolutely kill specific use cases, including Ripple using XRP as a bridge currency. And XRP community member and attorney Bill Morgan explains why. In fact, that'd probably be a good time to bring this up. So Bill Morgan retweeted what JV shared there, saying, "What's this nonsense? This narrative about how you can't register a cryptocurrency." Which again, I guilty as charged for saying, and I in hindsight, fine, you got me. I could have been more precise with my words, but if you listen to my arguments where after I made that claim, I said, yeah, I mean, if something's literally a company stock, I have said that in the past, and then mostly I pointed out if a cryptocurrency is decentralized, and I've articulated these reasons before, as Brad Garlinghouse has cited too, you can't know all the participants, which means you can't register it. It is literally impossible. So that is still true. So fine, like I said at the outset of the video, I will strive to be more precise. So instead of saying cryptocurrencies can't be registered with the SEC, I will say decentralized cryptocurrencies cannot be registered with the SEC. Problem solved, all right? And I do think precision of words is important, so I'm going to try and remember to tack that on there. But that is my stance. You literally can't do it. And so why can't Ripple? Because this firm Stacks just did, and again, I already explained why it's different. But check this out. Here's what attorney Bill Morgan had to say on this topic. He wrote, many reasons. Firstly, the evidence in the case is Ripple sales are less than 0.5% of XRP sales. The SEC says all XRP sales are investment contracts. What offers does XRP register? So pause and think about this. Again, the SEC says all XRP sales are investment contracts. All of them. What offers does XRP register? So again, if you don't know who those people are, and you can't know who they are, how do you even do that? Attorney Morgan continues. Secondly, how can Ripple register offers of XRP it makes when on-demand liquidity is meant to allow transactions and the SEC may take months to register an offer? Even if registration is possible for some tokens, it can't work in its current form for a token meant to be used as a bridge currency. It is meant to allow almost instant cross-border transactions to overcome price volatility, and that can't wait for each sale to on-demand liquidity customers to be registered. So folks, think about this. You can't just, if you're Ripple and you have to register your transactions for this, even with the SEC, you have to send over whatever the required paperwork would be, And then the SEC will get back to you when? Is it months later? That's what Attorney Morgan's here saying. Well, it's certainly not going to be inside of a few seconds. It destroys the use case. Now, furthermore, when you're talking about on-demand liquidity specifically, and I'll talk more about this in a video probably tomorrow, but if you're talking about on-demand liquidity specifically, any participant in that ecosystem, it's for utility, obviously. So when it comes to this idea of like investing in something, with the expectation of profit, well, I think if you're getting in and out of XRP inside of 3 seconds or so, I think that's evidence right there. You're not expecting profit, so you can't satisfy the Howey test. So that's why Ripple, and I'll talk more about this in a future video, but that's why it's at least this is the theory that Attorney Morgan's been talking about, and I think there very well may be something to it, is that's why Ripple years ago stopped their programmatic sales of XRP, but continued with on-demand liquidity related sales because they understand there's not a snowball's chance in hell that satisfy those sales. Not a snowball's chance in hell those sales will satisfy the Howey test. Expectation of profit in 3 seconds? Are you kidding me? So, you could argue the other prongs too, but it's pretty damn obvious, right? So if this were required, though, you would absolutely destroy the use case. But again, it doesn't fit the Howey test, so you shouldn't have to register those particular sales anyway. But even if you wanted to make the argument that Ripple should register other sales, that like when they did their programmatic sales, I'll let the lawyers hash that one out. If you want to make that argument, fine. But again, that is totally different than attempting to register all transactions for a blockchain that you don't control, you have no special permissions over, and you don't know the identities of the people utilizing that technology. It's totally different. So when you're talking about Stack successfully reporting, well, check this out. So this is the headline from the Wall Street Journal. SEC clears Blockstack to hold first regulated token offering. This is from July 10th, 2019. The Securities and Exchange Commission on Wednesday cleared a blockchain startup, Blockstack, to sell Bitcoin-like digital tokens. And by the way, they were renamed, but I'm just going to read it as is from 2019. A first-of-its-kind offering that could give young cryptocurrency businesses a new fundraising template. The SEC approved the $28 million offering under Regulation A+, an alternative to an initial public offering meant to help fledgling businesses raise capital, a lawyer for Blockstack said. The company plans to begin selling the tokens to the public Thursday through a website created for the offering. While the offering resembles an IPO in some ways, there are big differences. For one, token buyers won't get ownership stakes in the company. Rather, they will get utility tokens that they can use as a currency on Blockstack's network, a blockchain-based software platform on which developers can build applications. Blockchain is the technology that supports Bitcoin. The blockchain offering is, in essence, a regulated version of initial coin offerings, unregistered public sales of digital tokens that exploded in 2017. So pause and note. So if you're asking again, as JV did, and it's a perfectly fair question, why can't Ripple just do it if Blockstack did it? What are they registering? What are you asking them to register? Because there was no initial coin offering, that's for sure. Ripple wasn't even created until after XRP was created. So there's that as well. Ripple got its funding through venture capitalists. That's how it was funded. And sure, Ripple did sell XRP, but if you want to make I'll just say this: the closest thing you could argue, if it's your position, that if you think that Ripple should have registered, the only thing that I would look at would just even possibly hear you out on would be as if you're talking about on the programmatic sales side where they're just selling randomly. But when you're talking specifically about on-demand liquidity, that is so far outside of what Blockstack was doing, basically running a regulated initial coin offering. Hopefully you can see now that I've shared this information with you why these are completely different animals here. The circumstances are so markedly different, it doesn't even matter. Now there was also, maybe I didn't have the guy's tweet pulled. I guess I didn't. So there's maybe his name's in here. There's a guy who's one of the founders of this coin Stacks. This is it on Live Coin Wax Stacks, STX. I had the actual tweet from a couple years back where the guy was noting, hey, we believe that STX is no longer a security, so we're no longer going to be reporting to the SEC. And I had a specific, it's a bummer I don't have it pulled up right now. But I do have his blog pulled up where he said some additional stuff, so I'll still get to share that with you. But I can just kind of, in a nutshell, what he was getting at. He's like, We're filing a form to notify that this is like basically us wrapping up the necessary reporting to the SEC, and it had to do with the fact that the cryptocurrency is now sufficiently decentralized. But as I've said many times, that's the SEC's abandoned that concept. That's what it seems like right now. Now, I still think it's important to determine whether or not there is or is not a common enterprise. That's a factor worth considering. But they probably were listening to what Bill Hinman had to say, like, oh, well, we can just register, and then once it's decentralized, then we can stop reporting. Well, so that's what they've done. Who says the SEC isn't going to attack them? Who says? And they have to pick and choose. They can't sue everyone all at once, fine. But still. So anyway, there was this, and the system was renamed Hero, Hiro. And so this was titled Hero Files Final Annual Report with the SEC. Today, Hero Systems PBC, formerly Blockstack PBC, filed its 2020 annual report with the SEC. We expect this to be our last annual report filing, marking the end of a nearly 2-year journey since Hero's SEC-qualified offering of Stacks tokens in July 2019. So folks, to be clear, it is not the case that every single transaction today is being reported to the SEC by the firm, by the creators. It's not. It's over. So Ripple should register for what reason? You can see how these are very different situations, right? Anyway, reads as follows. Earlier, in January of this year, Hero announced that it would no longer treat Stacks tokens as securities under U.S. federal securities laws following the successful launch of the Stacks 2.0 blockchain. Out of an abundance of caution, Hero had previously treated the cryptocurrency as a security in the United States, leading to its 2019 token offering under Regulation A and subjecting itself to the same periodic information disclosures required of more traditional securities offerings. So pause again right there. You see that the SEC is arguing that every single transaction, not just limited early days transactions with Ripple and XRP, all of them are illegal. So if you extend that logic out, all transactions from this firm, when they stop reporting, those would just become illegal now. You're still supposed to. Do you see the problem here? Now, will the SEC go after this firm? I don't know. I have no idea. But if you're going to be logically, consistent, then the answer would have to be yes, you'd go after them. Not that I want them to, I'm just saying. Anyway, piece continues. At the time, however, Hero also laid out its long-term plan to decentralize the Stacks ecosystem so that neither Hero nor anyone else would play an essential managerial role that could reasonably be expected to be the driver of potential returns for Stacks holders. Under the U.S. Supreme Court's Howey test, this lack of an essential managerial role would mean the Stacks tokens no longer qualify as securities. Okay, well, they're still out there, though. So again, I think they should be able to be out there, and if it's sufficiently decentralized in particular, it's pretty easy to argue why. But man, it's such a convoluted mess here. But anyway, so that's why I wanted to make this video, though, just kind of clear this up. So to be more precise moving forward, I will be more precise with my language here, that technically, yes, you can register a cryptocurrency if it's centralized in its specific transactions, but you can't, if you're Ripple, you cannot register XRP. You absolutely cannot. And so who would be protected even if there were a magical form you could fill out, and even if that happened? That's the other thing that makes it so sickening. Who's protected who you're helping when Ripple doesn't have any power over it anyway, because it is decentralized? Ripple doesn't have control over what would filling out a form even do? Precisely nothing. It would do precisely nothing. But that's the point. This is about tremendous SEC overreach from a regulatory perspective. Really, truly disgusting stuff here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.